Well, it's lovely to see you, and it's lovely to be looking forward to a cup final. I guess the problem with a manager is you want to kind of embrace the opportunity, but also keep a lid on the emotions a little bit because people have, have dreamt of this for an awful long time, especially in Larne and in around the place.
Yes, when we first took the job at Larne, our big thing was to dream about nights like Wednesday, and that bringing that success to Larne Football Club. We were always very aware that it wasn't something that was going to happen overnight. We knew it was something that we were going to have to work towards, and we talk a lot about our journey and trying to build. And thankfully now that first one's almost upon us. And I think the big thing from it is, first and foremost, there's no pressure on us. That these are the nights that we all, as we said, we dreamed about. So we have to make sure we enjoy them.
Oh, you've done it the hard way as well. It's not been an easy path or journey to get actually to the final. You have to beat big clubs to get there.
Well, I think that's the whole thing about cup competitions, that if you want to try and get the finals and hopefully go on and win things, then you've got to try and beat the best teams. And if you're going to do something, you might as well do it the right way. And Crusaders and Linfield, I don't think there's any better way. So the great credit to the boys for getting themselves here.
How much has that changed not only the players' belief in themselves, but your belief in what they can do as well?
To be honest with you, I think that we've always had this belief as a staff are concerned in this group of players. I'm not 100% sure this group of players had the belief in themselves. I don't think they realised how good they actually could be. And I'm not 100% convinced they realise how good they really could be. As a staff, we watch them every day. We watch their work ethic and what they put into training on the field, off the field, what they do in their recovery and their diets, and they're just a phenomenal bunch of boys, and they're so hungry for success.
I talked to Fuad Sule, and he kind of said two moments kind of stand out in 2020 in terms of the direction that you're going in. And one of the things he said was the state of the guys coming back from lockdown was phenomenal. People did what you asked them to do, which gave them a platform to then come into this season and play like they play.
Yeah, and I think obviously we've been around Irish League football for a number of years now, and this is no disrespect to anywhere else that I was, but there was always a little bit of a part-time mentality, and football wasn't necessarily always the number one focus. And this group of boys, football is their number one focus, and they're the type of bunch that if you ask them to jump, they never question. They ask how high. And the thing that during lockdown was, not only did they absolutely and utterly work their backsides off, but they pushed the likes of Mick O'Boyle for more. And what else can I do? And is there any other things that I could be adding while I'm off? And that was just their mentality. And then they started challenging each other in their Strava runs, and competition got added into it. And when you get into a football club, and a club that doesn't necessarily have a great culture or a great history, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful to the club, but that's what you wish for. And thankfully this group of players have started to really bring that.
Is he one of the kind of secrets, if you like, in terms of things going well this season, Mick, and how well you've kind of integrated him and the kind of knock-on effect that he's had on the rest of the squad?
Yeah, the boy's phenomenal. Not only his knowledge, but his work ethic, and how much effort he puts into each and every player. And it's each and every player. It's not a group. It's not collectively. But it's his attention, and it's his attention to detail to every player, their position, not only their fitness levels, but their recovery is massive to him. And he's a massive part of our squad.
The second moment Fuad talked about was the victory over Glentoran at Inver Park, but it was kind of twofold in the sense that it followed the defeat to Crusaders, and he said that was a week where everyone kind of sat in a room together and said, this doesn't happen again, almost like a line in the sand moment.
Yeah, again, they're a group that hurt, and they reached the highs and then kind of got pulled down with a big low. And I don't think it was a matter of losing the Crusaders. I think it was a matter of the manner in which we lost the Crusaders. And we talk about it a lot as a management team and a group, that we don't mind being beat by teams that are better than us, as long as we give it our all. But what we do mind is not laying a glove on other teams. And if you're going to beat us and you're going to be better than us, then we'll put our hands up. But at least give your all. And that day we didn't give our all, and we suffered for it.
But since then, since that Glentoran win, you've been unbeaten in all competitions over 2 seasons.
Yes, and again, great credit to them. I actually remember that Monday morning very clearly, because we made them watch the game again, and you could have heard a pin drop. And I think that dagger in the heart was kind of the catalyst that really spurred them on. And as I say, there's not a day goes by that they don't try to get better than the day before. And that's all we can ask. As long as they give 100%, then that's all we can ask of them.
People like me try and find stories in big games like this, and one of the stories is close your connection with Glentoran, 5.5 years there with you and your brother. Does it make it even more significant it's them in a final?
The honest answer is no. I don't think I would care who we're playing in the final. My big thing now, and our big thing, is Larne, and we've started a journey 3.5-4 years ago. We're now starting to enter the period of that journey where we feel it's time to start bringing success to the football club and the town and the supporters, and that's our only focus. Our only focus is us and what we have to do. As I said, wouldn't really matter to me whether it was Glentoran, Linfield, Crusaders, Cliftonville. It's about Larne.
So how does it work with you and your brother? I've got to say, he's one of the scariest people I've met in football. And Fuad said it's bad cop, but I can't quite believe that.
Is Seamus bad cop, bad cop?
I think you both are in your own moments, yeah.
Well, no, I listen, I couldn't do what I do without him. He has a phenomenal knowledge of the game, and he like everybody in our group, he has a phenomenal work ethic, and I think that's what makes our club so successful, and or hopefully will make our club so successful, is the fact that there's no airs, there's no graces. Everybody's very humble. Everybody rolls their sleeves up, and everybody absolutely and utterly will do anything for each other. And Seamus is exactly the same. He's very similar to myself in the fact that we don't want to accept second best, and we're prepared to fall out and fight with each other first and foremost, and we do, and also then the players. But it's all because we know what we think that we also what we feel they're capable of, and if we don't push them every single day, then I genuinely believe that they'll look back on this period with regret if they don't go on and achieve what they're capable of.
And you throw kind of Tim McCann into the mix as well, and the secret seems to be that everyone has a voice. You know, it's not one opinion that matters; it's a collection of opinions, and you'll make decisions based on that.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to win Manager of the Month for the first time last month, and the first thing that sprung to my mind in the interview was, and this is not trying to put myself down in any way, shape or form, but I'm just a cog in the wheel. To have a very successful group, or to try and build a very successful group, it's all about the team, and the team on the field as well as off the field. And you have the likes of Tim McCann there, and you've Gary Haver in there, and Seamus and myself and Mick and the backroom staff, and everybody is just there's no egos, and we're very open, we're very honest, we have very lengthy debates and discussions and fallouts, and but we all know that it's a collective cause, and it's not about me, and it's not about Seamus, and it's not about Marty Donnelly, and it's not about Connor Devlin. It's about Larne Football Club. And as long as we all can be very clear that that's the end goal in this, then I think we'll always be okay.
But that comes down from the top, doesn't it? That comes from Kenny, the owner, the only man I know that won't speak about being an MBE, when you know plenty of people in football who wouldn't give you, a chance to talk about anything else.
I actually still can't believe that he got an MBE. I seen it as myself. James had very much put Larne on the map, and they give it to him. We've had that discussion. Now, my probably the biggest thing that sums Kenny Bruce up for me, James, was I was meeting a player that we were talking to potentially sign, in the Agnew Lounge, and Kenny came walking across the pitch carrying 2 bins, and that just for me summed our club up. That doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you are, your title or your role, everybody plays their part, and as I say, I think that's what makes Larne Football Club so special.
I'm glad you mentioned Marty Donnelly as well, because the surprise was that you mentioned him before I did, because you know how much I think of him. But what's it like to watch players as good as him getting even better? Because it's not just him, it's across the squad. We're watching players who are better than they were last season.
Again, James, there are a group of players that you watch every day, and you do watch in awe of what they're capable of. And I'm not embarrassed to say it. There's definitely times that the tempo that they get themselves to at training, that the football that they play in training, that you literally just have to stand back and think, it's an absolute another pleasure to be part of this. And it's an absolute another honour and pleasure and privilege to be part of this particular group. And I'm not sure they believe me when I tell them, but the scary part in this is they can only get better. And as long as they keep the work ethic that they have and they remain humble, I think that'll be the case. And as you rightly said, there's as a manager and as part of a coaching staff, it gets great pleasure when you watch the likes of Marty, who people probably wrote off a little bit 2-3 seasons ago, and you watch what he's doing right now, and great credit to him. He's a kid that I think has absolutely and utterly flourished in full-time football, but nobody sees the dedication that he puts in, and nobody sees the work that he's doing behind the scenes, as they all are. Marty seems to be this type of kid that, for whatever reason, hugs the limelight, and he loves every minute of it also. So, but there's not one player in that team that you could ever look at or point at and think he's a cheater, or he just does enough. We're so fortunate that everybody, every single one, they give their all.
But there also seems to be a mindset change as well in terms of opposition and thinking, not help, here come the big boys, but let's embrace the challenge of trying to beat these guys.
I think the big thing that we try to make sure is that it's about us first and foremost. And I think that we're starting to realize if we're at it, that we're a match for absolutely anybody. And that's what we talk about first and foremost. It's about getting our game right. And if we get our game right, we get our attitudes right, and we talk about that 100%. And if teams are better, as I said earlier, James, then you put your hands up. We don't believe that there are any teams better, and that's the mentality that we're starting to build at this football club. And we feel that as long as we keep on our game and we keep giving that 100%, that we'll be okay.
And a belief that Wednesday night and nights like Wednesday night are a start. This isn't where the journey ends. It's where almost the journey begins, isn't it, in terms of good times around the corner?
Yes, please God. That's why we all came to Larne Football Club. We came here to try and build something very special. And we can only deliver what's in front of us. And I'm hoping and praying that Wednesday can be the beginning of that. And we will give our all and see where it takes us.
I guess the only kind of negative is no fans behind closed doors. I mean, kind of great credit to the association for putting the game on, because you want the final to take place, but you'd like it to be in front of fans, because I think you then see what it means to them after 15 years of waiting.
Yeah, it is definitely difficult. It is definitely difficult, not only playing with none of our own fans, but it's difficult playing with no fans. And I think Irish League fans, not only are Larne fans extremely special, but Irish League fans are a little breed of their own. That Northern Irish humour and banter that goes with Irish League football kind of makes it what it is. And even for staff or managers or coaches and players, that atmosphere of big nights like that, not only at Inver, but as you say, at Seaview potentially on Wednesday, would just make it a totally different game.
And a moment in 2020 to stand out for you? I mean, I asked Kenny, he said there were lots. I asked Fuad and said, was it your goal at Dungannon? Was it Josh Robinson's goal against Cliftonville? Was it beating Glentoran and Linfield in a week? I mean, there have been an awful lot of highs in a challenging year elsewhere.
I don't think there's one defining moment. I think that there has been a number of factors which I believe started to change where we as a team and us as a club we're starting to go. And definitely that week in January where we beat Linfield and Glentoran at home, and Inver Park definitely rocked on those two occasions. And I think that gave them the players a taste of what could really happen if we could get a little bit of consistency to what we were doing. And thankfully that consistency then kind of started to roll on from there. So I would say probably those two games, if anything in particular, I'd say those two games probably that week probably made a massive difference in 2020.
And I know Wednesday night's all about getting the boys to get a result, but I imagine as part of you will be thinking it would have been nice for mum and dad, for the family to be here at Seaview watching me take a team into a final. Because that's, it's not going to happen, I know, but it's a regret, isn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose I'm no different from every other person in the club that, especially you're involved in football, James, and you know the sacrifices that go with coaching teams and players, and it's a lot of occasions it's the families that suffer because of the time commitment and holidays, and it definitely takes its toll on your home life. And when you get periods like this, that's exactly what you want. You want to try and give them that little bit of repayment for what they miss out on. But it's one of those things that it isn't to be. And hopefully, as you said earlier, that this is only the beginning of this journey, and there will be many more finals, and please God, much more success to come from Larne Football Club.
Great stuff. Let me stop.
Thank you.